Dear John Mara, please stop talking. Please shut up and just do your job in the shadows. On a day where you made a decision that nobody was happy with and everybody came to terms with, you have somehow made it worse by putting your foot in your mouth. So please, just shut up. My question to you is this before we react to John Mara, Joe Schoen, and Brian Daboll's press conference is this. What is your confidence level in these three gentlemen on screen to make the Giants great again? Scale at 1 to 10, 1 being you're not confident, 10, you got the most confidence in the world. I cannot believe the things that John Mara had to say in his impromptu press conference at the midfield logo of the Giants practice facility after he announced that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen would be back for the 2025 season. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be here all off-season long with free videos, multiple videos, every single day. We're just going to react to John Mara's press conference, and we'll talk about what Joe and Daboll had to say as well. Let's start with this. He was asked, what was the main reason that you brought back Daboll and Schoen for the 2025 season after there was a lot of smoke and a lot of rumors out there that you were going to fire them both? He says he likes the process of Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. He said he likes the way that these two guys work together. He also said he has a belief that these two guys can get it right. When talking about Brian Daboll, he talked about how he was the coach of the year just 2 years ago in 2022. And that Brian Daboll has not lost that. And that Brian Daboll is still the same guy that led the Giants to the playoffs in his first year here and led them to a playoff win on the road with Daniel Jones. He also mentioned that he had thought that Joe Schoen had an outstanding draft in 2024. And I thought he had a really good draft as well. Drafting Malik Neighbors, with other guys like Tyler Nubin, Theo Johnson, Tyrone Tracy. It is a good draft. He also said he loved the free agency class. And he also said he loves the staff that Joe Schoen has put together. He also said he loves the technology that they have, that they use to have access and information to players that they have never had before. But he also made it clear that the results the Giants have had this year and last year are not close to what they want them to be. So you are admitting that the Giants did not do a good enough job this year in the results column. But there's something in your gut that tells you that these two guys are the right guys for the job. During that impromptu press conference that John Mara had, Mike Garafolo, former Giants beat reporter on NFL Network, said that I'll read the tweet from Monty. Check him out. Has an awesome Giants podcast. Awesome dude. I've been on his show. That's the guy. Show him some love. Says the opinion of probably the most tied-in reporter of the Giants out there, Mike Garafolo, that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are back essentially under a playoff or bust scenario. So you're telling me that John Mara is bringing these guys back on a playoff or bust scenario? But you also just said you kept them not because of the record, but because you have a strong belief in them. So if you have a strong belief in them in January 2025, after results they did in 2024, how on earth are you going to enter the next season with belief in them, but ultimately kill them from their jobs if they don't meet the playoffs? It makes no sense. And I thought, you know what? Maybe Mike Garafolo is stretching the truth a little bit, even though I always believe what he says about the Giants because he is tapped in. But then I went back and I watched the John Mara press conference again. Then I started to read the transcript. And a question was asked. John Mara, how long will it take to improve the product? And John Mara said it better not take too long because I've just about run out of patience, which tells me Mike Garafolo is right. Maybe it's not playoffs or bust. I think the Giants are going to have to be close to 500 to keep those guys. And I thought, you know what? Maybe John Mara misspoke there. Then he was asked again, Do these guys come back on a hot seat? And Mara said, you guys are going to have them number one on the hot seat going forward. So no matter how I answer that question, then the reporter Bob butted in and said, in your mind, are they on the hot seat? And he said, we're going to have to see. I'm going to have to be in a better mood this time next year than I am right now. Oh, Johnny. Oh, Johnny Mara. So, yeah, the Giants are going to have to deliver results in the win column to keep their job, which is the only thing that I ask them not to do. Do not enter the 2025 season with winning expectations for Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. Do not enter the 2025 season after you are going to draft a rookie quarterback with win or bust expectations. And that is exactly what the Giants are going to do. Same old John Mara. Old dogs don't learn new tricks. This is why bad organizations stay bad. Because you repeat the cycle of moves that you made that got you in this position. Another quote that I thought stood out from the impromptu press conference. Quote, question, after the season last year, you said I need to see progress. I need to see the arrow pointing up. I need to see improvement. What signs are there with a 3-win team that any of that took place? Mayer says, certainly the signs were not based on our record. However, in Joe Schoen's case, I think the draft class that we had was really productive. I think all 6 of those guys are going to help us a great deal. I thought the free agents that we brought in, including outside linebacker Brian Burns, were really a big plus. I think the staff he has assembled around him and the process that we go through now and the information that we have in making personnel decisions is better than I've ever seen it before. In Brian Daboll's case, I'm at practice all the time. I go to the meetings all the time. I watch the players and I watch how they react. I still think he's the right guy to lead us. If I'm sitting here a year from now and you're asking me these questions, I'll take the heat. But at the end of the day, we've got to make a decision, and we've made one. So what does that tell me right there? If I'm sitting here a year from now and having to answer these same questions, I'll take the heat. Meaning if the Giants have another bad season in the win and loss column, I'm going to fire them. Which means you are entering the season with Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen on the hot seat. In the same offseason, you plan on drafting a rookie quarterback. For that, you deserve all the bad things that are coming your way. Because the Chicago Bears gave you a blueprint on how to mess up a rookie quarterback. 3 times. Hire coach, coach on hot seat, keep coach, draft quarterback, fire coach. They did it with Mitch Trubisky, they did it with Justin Fields, and they just did it with Caleb Williams. And you know what you're saying? I want to do that too. Because you know what you said? The number one priority is to find the next quarterback. Okay. So the number one priority for the Giants is to find the next quarterback. Okay. You also said, though, that you talked to Dabes about giving up play calling. Okay, so you don't like Brian Daboll as a play caller. And you also said, we need to make improvements on the defense. So you don't think the defensive coordinator is any good, you don't think the defense is any good, and you don't think the play call on offense is any good. And then you also said you need more depth on the O-line. So the play caller on offense is no good, play caller on defense is no good, the offensive line is no good, and then you said you're not sure the roster is better now than it is 30 years ago. So you don't believe in the play caller, you don't believe in the defensive coach, you don't believe in the O-line, and you think the roster is in a worse spot than it was 3 years ago. Why the hell did you keep these people in charge? So all these things need to improve, and you have to get a rookie quarterback, and it's win or you're fired. John Mara, this is why the Giants are the worst run organization right now in the NFL. This is why bad organizations stay bad, because it starts from the top down. You are doing exactly what the Chicago Bears showed you not to do. Thing is, they got to draft a once-in-a-generational quarterback talent in Caleb Williams. Guy that's not available in the draft class that might be able to get them out of the purgatory that they're in because of the dumb decisions they make after the dumb decisions that they make. So you got to win games. You got to get a quarterback, got to improve the O-line, got to get a new D coordinator. Maybe you, the head coach who I hired to call the plays, needs to change the call the plays. And if you don't do any of that, yeah, you're going to get fired. Take the red nose off, John. Shout out to my guy, Mike, NYY. Awesome Twitter follow, awesome YouTube account. Give him a follow, does great stuff. Wanted to show this tweet. Jerry Reese's hot seat offseason. Because I think it's safe to say that Joe Schoen's entering a hot seat offseason. He spent $106.3 million in guaranteed money in free agency. Most in the NFL by $32 million. Does anyone remember what happened in a couple years after that? I think we all do. What about Dave Gettleman when he entered the offseason on the hot seat in 2021? He spent $157 million in free agency, fifth most in the NFL that offseason. Do y'all remember what happened to Dave Gettleman? Okay. So you're putting John Mara. John Mara is putting Joe Schoen in a win-now offseason. He's got $65 million in cap space. What do you expect him to do? Let's pray to God he doesn't make any more dumb decisions like trading a third-round pick for a tight end who's going to retire in a year. No win-now trades need to be made. This is bad, guys. This is bad. I'm hoping that Mara chose the wrong words. I'm hoping that John Mara didn't understand the things that he said. And I'm hoping that John Mara just shuts up. I'm hoping John Mara stops talking about the New York Giants. Own the team and just stay out of the way. Own the team and stay out of the way. When you meddle, we collapse. So stop getting involved. If you want free videos all off season long, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We put out free, informative, entertaining updates every day on the New York Football Giants. We're going to be here all off season long, so sub for dubs in 2025. Coming up next, Brian Daboll spoke to the media. Joe Schoen spoke to the media. We got to talk about that in a second. First, though, I got to give a shout out to our proud sponsor, Game Time. The NFL playoffs are here, and the best seats at playoff games can be got for the lowest price on Game Time. So download the app, create an account, use that promo code ChatSports, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. All that information will be clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. The app is super user-friendly, extremely easy to use. So many awesome features like it's your seat view in the app, last-minute tickets and flash deals. You get the lowest price guaranteed, the all-in pricing feature to make sure no hidden fees, and the Game Time Picks feature to guarantee you make it that much more easy to go see your favorite people perform. I've been to an NFL playoff game because of Game Time, and I had a blast. It's a lot of fun. Memories can be made, and you can get the best seats for the lowest price guaranteed with Game Time. So download the app, create an account, promo code ChatSports, $20 off first purchase where terms do apply. What time is it? It is game time. All right, we'll just kind of quote what Joe Schoen had to say. Wasn't a lot of substance, I thought, in Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll's press conference, but there were some things that I did take away that I did like to hear. And one is accountability, and one is self-reflection by Joe Schoen. In other words, he said, I got to do a better job. He says, I got to build a roster with more talent. And damn right you do. You did not give the chef, Brian Daboll, the ingredients to be successful. Joe Schoen, you got to do better, and I like that you said that. He also said that quarterback is the most important position in football. So with Joe Schoen saying that, and with John Mara saying the number one priority is to get a quarterback, I think it's pretty clear the Giants are going to get a quarterback in the NFL draft. I also thought it was very important right after Joe Schoen said that quarterback is the most important position in football. He said he would not change how he handled the quarterback position this past offseason, which led him to a QB room of Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, and Tim Boyle, and 3 wins. It's okay to say you messed up because continuing to dig this hole makes me question if you're the right guy for the job. I also love that Joe Schoen pretty much pushed back on John Mara's win now statement. I'm not going to do a Hail Mary. That sounds sweet on January 6th at the podium when you're speaking to the media. How are you going to act on March 1st, March 10th, March 17th, March 21st when free agency's here? I'll believe it when I see it. I also like that he is kind of the belief that what we've done the last 2 years in turning over the roster, cleaning up the cap sheet, gets the Giants to this point to be successful. And now they can start the actual they can get out of the cleaning up the mess to join the talent acquisition part of being a general manager. So we're not digging out of a cap hole or a lack of draft capital anymore. All right. let's see you add some talent then. He also says that he has not told the Shedeur Sanders camp that Shedor's the guy. There was a lot of thought that Shedeur had already been told by the Giants that if they're picking number 1, the Giants are going to pick him. Joe Schoen says that is not the truth. He also made it seem like kind of what we just said about not digging out of a hole cap-wise or lack of draft capital, that now is the time. Maybe not now is the time to go over 500. Now is the time to win the NFC East. But now is the time to actually build the roster and add talent and be a competitive football team. I'm going to hold his feet to the fire on that. He also said he feels good about the O-line. Doesn't like that Andrew Thomas got hurt. And he doesn't like that they had to go through 10 different combinations on the offensive line this year. But he made it seem like he loved the addition of Jermaine Illuminor. He liked the addition of John Michael Schmitz. And he loves what Andrew Thomas can do when healthy. Talked about needing to fill the right guard spot with Greg Van Roten. I think there's only one starting spot available. Got to get more depth, though. That's absolutely true. Brian Daboll, he says he has not made any staff changes so far. Didn't say he wouldn't make staff changes, but he did say he has not made any yet. Also, Mike Kafka, who has another year on his contract, is already being wanted across the league. The Saints are interviewing him for the head coach job. The Bears are interviewing for the head coach job. And I think he will get an interview to be the Seahawks offensive coordinator as well, because they just fired their guy, and Kafka interviewed to be the Seahawks head coach last year. Daboll also said he was the one who brought up the play calling duties to John Mara. He did it in a self-reflection kind of move. Like, nothing was good enough. Won 3 games. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win. I will say, though, I doubt that Kafka is back with the New York Giants. I don't see a way. You took play calling away from him, and then you gave him a piece of pizza and a medium Pepsi to say, even though you're not the offensive coordinator, we're now going to make you the assistant head coach. But we're actually going to ask less of you on a day-to-day basis. I also think Shane Bowen could be fired, or there's a mutual separation. John Mara voiced his displeasure with the defense, and I think that Shane Bowen could ask, or the Giants fire, a mutual separation for him to go be the defensive coordinator for Mike Vrabel for the New England Patriots and join forces with them again. So that's that. That's my take. And that's the cliff notes of Mara, Daboll, and Schoen speaking to the media. So I'll ask you again, what's your confidence level in these 3 guys to make the Giants great again? Scale it 1 to 10. 1 being you're not confident. 10, you've got the most trust in the world in these guys. Make sure you are following me on social media. That would have been the first spot you heard at 7 a.m. this morning that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen were back. So give me a follow at Marshall Green _.